Today we got two of the smartest men in the Marvel Universe going head to head. Tony Stark versus Hank Pym. Iron Man versus Ant-Man. Who wins? Well, let's find out. Tony Stark was an arrogant son of wealthy weapons manufacturer Howard Stark, and he cared only about himself. But this changed when he had a change of heart after he was kidnapped by terrorists and gravely injured. Stark was pressured to create a weapon of mass destruction, but instead he created a suit of power armor in order to escape. Now, Tony uses his vast resources and intellect to make the world a better place as the Invincible Iron Man. Iron Man's abilities are constantly changing because he's continuously updating and improving his armor, but he has some powers that are pretty consistent. Just for clarity's sake though, Tony will be given his bleeding edge armor in this fight. Alright, so let's get started. Now the armor gives Tony superhuman strength, and he's easily able to lift over 100 tons. He's even managed to take down the Red Hulk, stagger the actual Hulk, and brawl against Taurus, who had just taken Thor down with just a few blows. The armor grants Tony incredible speed as well, and he can outmaneuver and dodge missiles and laser fire, but perhaps most impressive is being able to outmaneuver Gladiator and even Speed Blitz Phoenix Force Cyclops. One of the most impressive things about the suit though is durability and shields. Tony was able to hold his own against Colossus with Juggernaut's powers, a hallucinating Thor, and Rogue with the powers of Hulk. His shields also held up against the final form of Ultron and Emma Frost with half of the Phoenix Force on her side. Pretty impressive if you ask me. Bleeding Edge is also equipped with countless different weapons, with the most common being repulsor rays, unibeams, and missiles and lasers. He also has miniature cluster bombs, homing lasers, multi-directional repulsors, microscopic telepathic tasers, and a sonic weapon that nearly killed Juggernaut. Tony is also incredibly intelligent, a skilled fighter, and is an excellent strategist that is able to use his intellect to think of countless ways to take down opponents. Then in the other corner of Ant-Man, Hank Pym is a scientific genius, a founding member of the Avengers, the creator of the Pym particles, father of Ultron, and a superhero who suffers from bipolar disorder. Pym has acted under many memorable identities, such as Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Yellow Jacket, and the Wasp. He is also the Earth's scientist supreme, as decreed by eternity. When active as Ant-Man, Pym has the strength of a man of his age, height, and build who engages in intensive regular exercise. But when he shrinks to insect size, he still has that same level of strength. As a Giant Man, though, his strength varies depending on his height, and this is where he displays superhuman strength. In fact, when he's 100 feet tall, he can lift over 100 tons, pulverize Ultron, and tear buildings in half. As Ant-Man, Hank constructed a cybernetic helmet that allows him to communicate with insects, such as ants. Now he can't control ants in the traditional sense, but when asked, they are very willing to help. Hank also developed several different weapons, such as hydraulic boots that can launch him over great distances and allow him to land successfully. He also carries on an unbreakable nylon rope, which he uses to lasso opponents and toss them around. Ant-Man is also able to use the Pym particles in offensive and rather creative ways as well. These particles act quickly, so he can attack and evade attacks at rather fast speeds. He can grow past the microverse to the realm of abstract entities, or shrink down to the microverse. And Hank can also use the Pym particles to shrink or grow other people around him. Hank is a brilliant scientist and biochemist, being even granted the title of Scientist Supreme of Earth, and has great expertise in the field of robotics, artificial intelligence, and subatomic physics. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, for starters, these two are some of the smartest men on Earth, and you could really have a great debate about which one of them is smarter. In the comics, both of them might say that Tony is the smarter one, but there's actually a reason for that. Tony is very overconfident, and will always say that he is the best and is better than he actually is. That's why when Tony admits that someone is smarter than him, or when his weapons can't do something, it's a real big deal. On the other hand, Hank isn't confident at all and always undervalues himself. So when he says that someone is smarter or better than him, well, it's just any other day. He's also got a whole lot of emotional baggage to deal with, so that usually inhibits him as well. But regardless of who is technically smarter, they're both great at using their brains in a fight. Iron Man has been called the greatest multitasker on Earth, so he can continue to be present in the fight while mapping out a strategy on how to beat his opponent. Ant-Man, on the other hand, is a pro at thinking on the fly and is a master of ingenuity and creativity. He was able to improvise and defeat Mr. Fantastic, even when Reed Richards had been preparing for this fight beforehand. Then Ultron even stated that Hank Pym had more ingenuity than Tony, so that kind of proves it right there. But it's not just intelligence that factors into this fight, but also their weapons and fighting skills. Iron Man's bleeding edge armor is arguably his most powerful version of armor ever, and has enough firepower to take down Red Hulk and even stagger Thor and the actual Hulk. It's more than enough firepower to take down Hank. But Hank isn't just going to be standing still and taking it. He's got a ton of unique powers too, and can more than hold his own. He could stay microscopic until he reaches Tony's armor, and then get in there and start messing around with his weapons, and even attack Tony himself. He could shrink Tony down, and just leave him trapped in the microverse, stick a bunch of ants on him, or even simply just stomp him. He can grow thousands of ants to super monster size, and let them swarm and overwhelm him. He can grow to massive sizes and flick Tony around, and even grow to the size of a cosmic entity and defeat him that way. Those are all things that he's possibly able to do. But the thing is, he won't. That's a Hank Pym who is going all out and is fighting rather ruthless. And that's not what he does. It's much more likely that he gets tagged right in the face by Captain America's shield. On the other hand, Tony has actually shown that he can be rather ruthless in a fight, and the bleeding edge armor is really gnarly too. Not just that, but he's packing a lot of speed as well, to the point where he can even speed blitz Gladiator and Phoenix Force Cyclops. And like I mentioned earlier, Cap was able to knock Hank right in the face, and Ant-Man didn't even begin to dodge the attack or see it coming. So at the end of the day, if Ant-Man was going all out, was actually trying to kill Iron Man, then he 100% could. He's got an unbelievable powerful and lethal arsenal that he rarely uses to its full potential. On the other hand, Iron Man does tend to fight at a higher level, is faster, and just packs more power. Iron Man is winning this one. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts, so sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just like this one every single day, and I'll see y'all next time.